Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going deep. Not just into dating strategies, but into something every man at some point wonders quietly to himself. Why do some guys barely try, and yet women seem magnetically drawn to them? While others, maybe even you, give effort, attention, time, and still feel like it's never enough? Here's the truth most people won't say out loud. Attraction isn't about doing more. It's about being more. More centered, more self-aware, more aligned with your own worth. Because when you stop chasing and start owning your presence, that's when everything shifts. You see, women, real women, aren't chasing guys with flashy lines or fake confidence. They're drawn to men who are whole on their own. Men who don't just look good, but live good. Men who know who they are and don't bend to be liked. And maybe right now you're at a point where you've done things right. You've been kind, available, you've shown you care. And yet it's not reciprocated. She pulls away. She seems interested but not invested. You're left wondering, what am I missing? Let me tell you something powerful. It's not your looks. It's not your car. It's not your wallet. It's your energy, your presence, your boundaries. That's what she feels. That's what she responds to. This video isn't about becoming a pickup artist. It's about becoming a grounded man, the kind women don't just notice, they remember, they respect, they want. If you've ever felt like you were doing too much, giving too much, or doubting your own worth, this video is for you. We're going to break it down, step by step. Not tricks, not manipulation, just honest, practical, psychology-backed shifts in how you carry yourself, communicate, and live. Before we dive in, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss content that helps you become the man she can't ignore. Now let's break down exactly how to make the woman you want start chasing you. Let's start with the first one. Don't reply right away. When she texts you, pause. Not because you're playing games, not because you want to manipulate her, but because you know your value and you're not living on standby for anyone. See, in today's world, where everyone is glued to their phone, constantly refreshing, constantly reacting, there's something deeply attractive about a man who doesn't jump at every notification. Why? Because it tells her something powerful, that your time is full, your life is rich, you're focused on something bigger than this moment. Maybe you're in the middle of a workout. Maybe you're deep into your work. Maybe you're enjoying a quiet coffee alone, thinking, planning, building your next move. Whatever it is, it comes first. And that's what she feels when there's a pause. That space between her message and your reply is where curiosity grows. It's where mystery lives. She starts asking herself, what's he doing right now? Why hasn't he replied yet? Is he with someone else? Does he even like me as much as I thought? These questions don't come from insecurity, they come from intrigue. And intrigue is the seed of emotional investment. Think about this. When something is always available, we stop noticing it. But when something pauses, pulls back, holds its own energy, we lean in. Responding instantly every time can send the unspoken message, my attention is yours, always. And while that might sound romantic on the surface, it's not what builds desire, because real desire doesn't come from constant presence. It comes from intentional presence. Now, I'm not saying you should ignore her for hours out of spite or pretend to be busy. That's ego. I'm saying actually be busy. Live a life that excites you, with or without her. Fill your days with things that matter to you: work, purpose, health, growth. Then when you do reply, let it be calm, clear, grounded, not rushed, not overeager, not needy, just solid. Like a man who's in control of his time and his energy, a man who chooses when to engage, not one who's waiting to be chosen. Because that energy, that sense of quiet power, is what women remember. Not the man who replies in 5 seconds, but the one who lives like he doesn't need anyone to complete him, and still chooses her, on his time from his strength. That's not manipulation. That's magnetism. Let her breathe. Let her wonder. Let her come toward you. And when she does, you'll both know it's real. Number 2, stop always being the one to reach out. You don't always have to be the one who reaches out. In fact, if you always do, you rob her of something powerful. The space to feel your absence. And yes, that silence might feel uncomfortable at first. You'll want to check in, send the meme, ask how her day was. But here's the truth. Most men never learn. When you're always the one initiating, she never gets the chance to miss you. Think about that. Every relationship, romantic or not, thrives on emotional rhythm, on waves, on shifts between closeness and distance, push and pull. If you're the one constantly sending the good morning texts, the first "how was your day" or the just checking in messages, you become predictable. And what's predictable becomes invisible. Give her a moment to pause and ask herself, why hasn't he texted me? Is he still thinking about me? Was it something I said? These aren't manipulative questions. They're emotional hooks, invitations for her to invest, to lean in. Because it's in your absence that your value becomes clear. Scarcity breeds worth. A diamond isn't found on every sidewalk. A sunrise isn't available at noon. Let her feel your distance, not as punishment, but as contrast. You see, most men make the mistake of chasing connection by force. They smother, they over-communicate, they confuse availability with affection. But true attraction is born in the space between gestures. It's that quiet beat in the conversation where she starts wondering, what's he thinking? What's he doing? Why isn't he texting like he usually does? And it's that curiosity, that void you're allowing her to feel, not out of manipulation, but out of balance. Because in healthy, high-value relationships, interest should flow both ways. And here's something powerful. When she reaches out first, when she sends that "hey" text, when she reacts to your story, when she checks in after a day or two, she's not just starting a conversation. She's showing you where her mind has been. With you. And that right there is more telling than any emoji or 3-paragraph message you could have sent. So take a breath. Let the silence do its work. Resist the urge to fill every gap with words. Trust that if she's genuinely interested, she will reach out. And if she doesn't, that silence told you everything you needed to know. Because a man who values himself doesn't chase, he attracts. Let her come to you. For number 3, hold off on intimacy. In today's world, everything is instant. Instant messages, instant gratification, swipe left, swipe right. We've gotten used to moving fast, especially when it comes to attraction. So when a woman shows strong interest, when the chemistry is electric and things seem to be escalating quickly, it might feel like a green light, like validation, like a reward you've earned just for showing up. But let me tell you something most men never realize. You don't build true desire by giving in right away. You build it by creating space, by letting tension simmer, by allowing curiosity to bloom in silence. Yes, she might want you physically, and that's a compliment. But don't confuse wanting you for valuing you. The moment you rush into intimacy without establishing depth, that spark can fade as quickly as it flared up. Here's the truth. Most men jump at the chance. They get caught up in the moment, led by impulse, not intention. But you're not most men. You're in control, not just of your actions, but of your energy. You don't need to prove yourself through performance. You prove yourself through presence. So when the opportunity arises, and it will, look her in the eye and say something real. Say something unexpected. Say, I'm enjoying this, and I really like where it's going, but I want to take our time. Let's build something worth remembering. She'll pause. She might even question it. But deep down, she'll respect it. Because you're showing her that you're not chasing a moment, you're cultivating a connection. And in that moment, something powerful happens. You shift the dynamic. You become rare. You become unforgettable. She starts to wonder, why didn't he try to sleep with me? Is he not like the others? Does he see something deeper in me? That wonder turns into obsession. You've now planted a seed, not of lust, but of emotional intrigue. Because true intimacy isn't just physical. It's emotional, spiritual, psychological. And when you protect it, when you respect it, You make her crave not just your body, but your presence, your trust, your time. So next time the moment feels right, remember she's not going anywhere if she truly values you. And by holding back, you're not losing anything. You're just making the connection richer, deeper, and more unforgettable. Because any man can touch her body, but very few ever touch her mind or her soul. And that's what makes you different. Number 4 is all about self-care. Make self-care a priority. Let's talk about something that goes beyond attraction. Something that's not just about getting her attention, but about becoming someone worth her attention in the first place. Because here's the truth. Before you can ever take care of someone else, romantically, emotionally, physically, you need to take care of you. And not just in the surface level, skincare and gym selfies kind of way, but deeply, consistently, intentionally. Self-care for a man is about building discipline. It's waking up early when no one's watching. It's choosing to read instead of scroll. It's lifting weights, not just to look good, but because pushing through resistance makes you stronger in every way. It's grooming yourself, not for validation, but because how you carry yourself is a reflection of how you see yourself. You start eating better, not to impress her, but because you finally realize your body deserves fuel, not punishment. You make time for hobbies, adventures, new skills, not just to look busy, but because you've started falling in love with your own life. Women sense this deeply. They can tell when a man is self-sourced, when his happiness isn't dependent on their attention. When she sees you're the kind of man who respects his body, his time, his dreams, she'll start believing that you'll respect her just as much. You don't need to announce it. Just live it. Let it come out naturally. Sorry, I was at the gym. I've been working on this side project. My friends and I are planning a hiking trip next weekend. I just finished this book. It really opened my mind. These little statements tell a bigger story. You are a man on a mission. You're not just looking for love. You're becoming the kind of man love fits into, not completes. Because when you carry yourself like you are already full, already grounded, she sees you as a safe place, a solid presence. And here's the beautiful paradox. The more you focus on your growth, your health, your wholeness, the more attractive you become without even trying. That's self-care. And that's what makes her stop chasing attention from boys and start chasing the man who doesn't need to prove anything at all. Now here's number 5. And this one's a game changer. Let her see your joy. Share your fun. There's something magnetic about a man who's truly enjoying his life, not pretending, not showing off, but simply living. So instead of trying to impress her with words or filtered perfection, show her your joy. Maybe you send her a quick snap, not staged, not polished, just you and your friends around a bonfire, laughter echoing in the background, a flickering flame, a relaxed smile. Or maybe it's a selfie of you mid-hike, with the world stretching behind you. Wind in your hair, sweat on your brow, freedom in your eyes. A moment from game night with your boys, a blurry shot from a night out, or a quiet photo of you journaling on a Sunday morning with coffee and sunlight pouring in through the window. You don't need to tell her how amazing your life is. Let her feel it. Let her feel the vibration of someone who's grounded, who's building a life that feels whole, with or without her. Because here's what happens, whether she says it or not. She sees your joy. She sees the spark in your eyes. She sees that you've built something for yourself that isn't waiting on her approval. And a part of her starts to crave it. Not the photo, not the moment, but the feeling behind it. She imagines what it would be like to be by your side during those moments, to laugh with you under the stars, to dance with you in the rain, to walk beside you while you chase sunsets instead of chasing people. Here's the truth. You're not showing her your lifestyle to get her attention. You're offering her a glimpse of what life feels like when a man chooses joy over desperation, presence over performance, experience over ego. And if that resonates with her, she won't want to just watch that life from a distance. She'll want to step into it because joy is contagious. And your life, when lived fully and honestly, is the most attractive energy there is. So keep living, keep laughing, and let her see it, not through filters but through presence. That's not showing off. That's showing up. For number 6, don't rush the next date. Create anticipation. So let's say a date just ended, and for a moment it felt like time slowed down. There was a softness in her voice when she said goodbye, a warmth in her eyes when she smiled at you. That final moment before she walked away, it wasn't just an ending. It was a silent invitation, a subtle question. Will I see him again? And now you're sitting with your phone in your hand, thumb hovering over her name. You want to text her. You want to tell her how great it was, how much you enjoyed her company. You want to seal the connection you both felt. But take a breath and wait, because something powerful happens in the pause. Not because silence is a strategy, but because silence is a stage for memory, emotion, reflection. See, after the date ends, after the laughter fades and the music of the evening quiets down, what remains is the feeling you left her with. And when you don't rush in to define it with words. She gets to feel it for herself. She'll think about how you made her feel seen, heard, how you asked questions and listened without trying to impress, how you made her laugh without even trying that hard. And in that silence, a seed begins to grow. Interest, curiosity, a desire for more. You're not being cold. You're not disappearing. You're simply letting the moment breathe. Because when you rush back in with a text like, "That was amazing," or "Can't wait to see you again," what you're doing without meaning to is robbing her of that beautiful in-between space where emotions settle and the bond deepens. The pause after the moment is where anticipation blooms. Think of it like art. A painter doesn't rush to add the next stroke. He steps back. He observes. He lets the canvas speak. You too are creating something here, something meaningful. And you don't build connection by crowding it. You build it by allowing space for longing to form. So let her wonder. Let her feel the quiet hum of your presence without the need for constant reminders. Let her talk to her friends and say, "I don't know what it is about him. He hasn't texted, but I keep replaying the night." And then, after a day, maybe 2, when the time feels right, you lead. No overthinking, no needy energy, just calm, masculine certainty. Send something light but intentional. "I've got a plan. Wednesday or Friday? Or maybe that restaurant we talked about. I think we should try it next." That's not just a message. That's a signal that you're grounded, that you're not chasing, but you're choosing, that your world is already full, and she's invited in, not needed to complete it. It makes her feel chosen, but not smothered, desired, but still free. And that balance, that tension between presence and patience, is what pulls her in deeper than any instant text ever could. Remember, timing is everything, and the space between one great date and the next, that's the music of mystery. That's where the craving grows. So give her the gift of wondering, of waiting, of imagining what comes next. Let your silence be just loud enough for her heart to listen. Let the anticipation be its own kind of romance. And when she sees you again, it won't just be another date. It will feel like the next chapter of something worth unfolding. And number 7, look sharp. Dress like you care. Let's talk about something most men overlook, not because it's unimportant, but because they don't realize how much it says about who they are. Your appearance. Now, I'm not saying you need designer labels or the latest trends. This isn't about fashion. It's about presence. Because before you ever say a word, the world has already made a judgment. And whether it's fair or not, people respond to what they see. When you walk into a room, your clothes, your grooming, your posture, they all speak. They tell a story about your discipline, your self-worth, your standards. Ask yourself, are you telling the story you want others to hear? A wrinkled shirt, scuffed shoes, greasy hair. These may seem like small things, but they whisper something deeper. They whisper, "I've given up." Or worse, I don't think I'm worth the effort. But when you show up clean, sharp, intentional, suddenly you're saying something else. I value myself. I pay attention to detail. I don't need to say much because my presence speaks volumes. And here's the secret. You're not dressing for her. You're dressing for you. Because when you look in the mirror and actually like what you see, not in a vain way, but in a grounded, real way, you walk different. You speak different. You move with calm. You lead with quiet strength. A well-fitted shirt that complements your frame. Shoes that are clean and polished, even if they're simple. A scent that's subtle but leaves an impression. Hair that looks like you gave it 10 minutes of your time. Not because you're insecure, but because you respect yourself enough to show up with care. And let me tell you something most men never realize. Women notice. Not because they care about brands, but because they care about energy. They notice the man who walks into the room with confidence, with poise, with discipline. The man who looks like he has somewhere to be, something to build, and no time for sloppy energy. That's magnetic. So no, you don't need Gucci or Armani. You just need self-awareness. You just need to ask yourself, if today was the day I met the woman of my dreams, or the opportunity of a lifetime, would my appearance say I'm ready? And if the answer is no, that's okay. Start small. Iron your clothes. Polish your shoes. Get a haircut that suits your face. Buy fewer clothes. But make sure they fit right. Because the moment you start showing the world that you care about you, you'll start noticing something. The world starts caring too. If you're getting value from this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. This channel is all about helping you become the kind of man women chase, not the one chasing. Let's keep going. Now, here's number 8. Talk less, say more. Be the calm in her storm. There's something powerful about a man who doesn't feel the need to fill every silence. In a world where everyone's rushing to speak, trying to impress, to entertain, to be heard, the one who pauses, who chooses his words with intention, stands out like a lighthouse in the fog. Most men feel they have to sell themselves. They try too hard, overshare, overcompensate. They flood the space with noise, hoping something they say will land. But women don't fall for noise. They fall for presence, stillness, that unspoken energy that says, I know who I am. I don't need to perform for you. So when you're with her, slow down. Let silence be part of the conversation. Not awkward silence, but sacred silence. The kind that lets her hear her own heartbeat next to yours. Ask questions that go deeper than surface talk, not just, how was your day? Try, what's something you've never told anyone, but always wanted to? Or, what lights you up when no one's watching? And when she answers, really listen. Not just with your ears, but with your eyes, your stillness, your complete presence. Hold her gaze, not in a creepy way, but with steady warmth. Let her see that you're not distracted. You're not waiting to jump in with your own story. You're just there, with her, for real. That's rare. Because here's the truth. A woman doesn't want a man who talks over her. She doesn't want someone who tries to dominate the space. She wants someone who makes the space safe, so she can open up, so she can soften, so she can breathe. When she feels that from you, when you become the calm in her storm, she'll begin to trust you. Not because you convinced her with clever lines, but because your silence told her everything she needed to know, that you're solid, rooted. A man who doesn't need to chase validation because he carries his worth quietly. And that's unforgettable. So the next time you're with her, remember, talk less, say more. Be the man she can lean on without even moving a muscle. Number 9, be a man with boundaries. Let's talk about something most men never realize they're missing. Boundaries. Not walls, not defensiveness, but clear, quiet lines that say, this is who I am. This is what I allow, and this is what I will not tolerate. Most men think that saying yes to everything makes them more lovable, more agreeable, more wanted. But the truth is, the man who says yes to everything slowly starts saying no to himself. And that's when you lose her respect. When a woman cancels on you last minute, how do you respond? Do you send a dozen texts asking why? Do you panic thinking she's slipping away? Or do you calmly say, no worries, let's reschedule when it actually works better for both of us? Not with anger, not with sarcasm, but with poise. Why? Because your time is valuable. You've built a life where your schedule matters. You're not waiting around to be fit into someone else's day like an afterthought. Trust me, this works magic. I know because I have done this multiple times. When she makes an unreasonable request, maybe to change your plans, test your limits, or push you outside your values, you don't lash out, you don't fold. You simply say, that's not really my thing. Simple, honest, unshaken. And let's be real, this kind of energy is rare. Because most people are scared to disappoint, scared to lose their shot, scared to be alone. But the man who isn't afraid to walk away, the man who knows that self-respect is more important than her approval, that man is unforgettable. Here's what boundaries actually say to a woman. I know who I am. I know what I value. And I'd rather be alone than abandon myself to impress you. That hits different, because deep down every high-value woman is looking for one thing. A man she cannot move like a pawn. A man who commands respect simply by how he lives. Boundaries aren't rude, they're not selfish, they're not aggressive. They're mature, they're attractive, they're necessary. Because when you respect yourself enough to say no to things that don't align with your values, you become the man she doesn't just want. You become the man she admires. And admiration? That's the root of lasting desire. Number 10. Have a life outside of her. Seriously, let's talk about something men often forget the moment they start catching feelings. Your life does not end when she walks in. In fact, it's supposed to expand. But here's what usually happens. You meet someone amazing. The chemistry is real. The conversations are deep. You start canceling plans with friends, skipping gym sessions, ignoring your own goals, just to spend more time with her. And at first it feels romantic. You think you're proving how serious you are, but in her mind, it's doing the opposite. You're losing yourself, and she can feel it. Your energy begins to shift from masculine and grounded to needy, dependent, drifting. You were a whole man when she met you. Now you're orbiting around her. That's not attractive. That's unsettling. Because women don't want a man who needs her to complete him. They want a man who is complete already and simply chooses her from a place of strength. So keep your life moving. Wake up early and chase your goals. Lift heavy, read deep, travel solo, call your brothers, show up for your family, build your business, heal your childhood wounds, chase excellence, not her. If you were painting a masterpiece before she arrived, don't drop the brush now. Let her see that you're still building, still growing, still you. That's how she knows you're not with her out of loneliness. You're with her because you saw something rare and worthy in her. You're not trying to fit her into an empty space. You're inviting her into an already beautiful life. And that's what makes her respect you. That's what makes her chase you. Because now, being part of your world feels like a privilege, not an expectation. So don't trade your identity for affection. Don't water down your purpose to prove your love. Be a man who walks his own path, with or without her. And trust me, that's the kind of man every woman wants to follow. Number 11. Show her your vision, not just your vibe. Let's pause for a second and ask something deeper. What are you building? Not just today, not just this month, but in this life. Because vibe will get her attention, but vision will keep her inspired. You see, anyone can be cool. Anyone can be attractive for a moment. Good looks, confidence, a clever line. But those things fade if there's no foundation behind them. No direction. No why. Women are intuitive. They can feel when a man is drifting through life with no compass. It might be fun for a weekend, but it's not what makes a woman want to build a future with you. Now let's flip that. Imagine you're sitting across from her, not bragging, not boasting, but sharing something that lights you up inside. You say things like, I'm building something right now. It's small, but it matters to me. Or, I don't know exactly how it's going to look yet, but I know where I'm going. Your tone isn't loud. It's not arrogant. It's grounded. Calm. Sure. In that moment, you're doing something most men never do. You're letting her glimpse your inner world. And that is magnetic. Because women don't just fall for what you have, they fall for what you believe in. They fall for that passion in your voice when you speak about the things that make you feel alive. They fall for the way your eyes light up when you describe where you want to be 5 years from now. They fall for how you carry your mission, not as a fantasy, but as a responsibility. It could be anything. A fitness brand you're building, a book you're writing, a career path you're carving from nothing, a community you're trying to uplift, a dream you're chasing, even if it scares you when. It's not about having it all figured out. It's about wanting more for yourself, for your future, for whoever walks beside you. And when a woman sees that spark in you, when she hears that conviction, you instantly stand out. Because now she doesn't just see a man, she sees momentum, she sees vision, she sees potential, and most importantly, she sees security. Not in the sense of money or status, but in the knowledge that being with you means forward motion. It means life with you won't be stagnant. It means if she aligns with you, she'll grow too. So ask yourself right now, what am I building? What matters to me? What am I willing to sacrifice for? Let your answers shape your direction. Let your direction shape your energy. And let that energy attract the kind of woman who's not just looking for a vibe, but a legacy. Number 12, be playful, not predictable, the art of magnetic masculinity. There's something you need to understand, something that's not talked about enough in the world of attraction. Women aren't drawn to perfection, they're drawn to presence. Not a man who tries to impress her with over-polished words or robotic compliments, but a man who feels real. A man who has spark in his voice and playfulness in his spirit. So don't always be the nice guy. Nice is forgettable. Nice fades into the background. Nice says, I want you to like me. But playful says, I like myself and I'm enjoying you. See the difference? Playfulness is confidence without arrogance. It's flirtation without desperation. It's the gentle tug of mystery, the unexpected comment that makes her smile and think, who is this guy? Maybe you lean back after something she says and go, oh, you're definitely trouble. I'm going to have to keep an eye on you. Or when she teases you, you smile and reply, careful now, you're making it really hard not to fall for you. It's not a pickup line. It's not a game. It's energy. It's about not being afraid to push the moment a little, to spark chemistry by dancing on the edge of tension and connection. When you're playful, you become unpredictable in the best way. You break the script. Most men follow a pattern. They praise too much. They agree too easily. They never challenge her. And in doing so, they melt into the blur of every other guy she's talked to. But when you tease her, lightly challenge her, say something bold with a smile in your eyes, you stand out. You become the one she remembers when she puts her phone down. The one she smiles about when her friends ask, so tell us about him. Because what you've done is more than flirt. You've stirred her curiosity. You've triggered the part of her that wants to play, explore, engage. And make no mistake, chemistry lives in play. Not in overthinking, not in trying too hard, but in letting the moment breathe and then tossing in something just a little offbeat, just enough to catch her off guard and pull her in. Be that spark. Don't be the guy she forgets. Be the guy who leaves a trace of laughter, charm, and curiosity in every conversation. Because when she laughs with you, when she feels that excitement ripple through her chest, that's not just attraction. That's the beginning of obsession. Number 13. Stay in control of your emotions. Let's talk about emotional control. Not the fake kind where you bottle everything up. Not the type where you pretend nothing bothers you while secretly boiling inside. I'm talking about real strength. The kind that shows up when things don't go your way. You're texting her and she takes hours to respond. You've planned a night out and she cancels last minute. She casually drops a comment about another guy, maybe an ex, maybe a coworker, and suddenly your chest tightens. This is where most men fall apart. They send double texts, they confront, they accuse, they crumble. But here's the truth. Women don't just fall for looks or money, they fall for emotional strength. And often they test for it. Not always on purpose, but instinctively. Because deep down, a woman wants to know, if life gets hard, will he protect me or will he fall apart? If I challenge him, will he lose himself or stand his ground? If things shift, will he stay rooted or will he spiral? The moments when you don't react emotionally, those are the moments that speak the loudest. When she's cold and you stay warm. When she's distant and you stay centered. When she's uncertain and you remain grounded. That calmness isn't weakness, it's power. It says, I've been through storms before, this is just rain. So if she pulls back, don't chase. If she's testing your patience, don't flinch. If her attention wanders, don't beg for it. Instead, pause, breathe, reflect. Because emotional control isn't about impressing her, it's about honoring yourself. A man who can master his reactions commands respect, not just from women, but from the world. And ironically, the less reactive you are to her shifts in mood, the more drawn she'll be. Because now you're not just a man, you're an anchor. A steady presence in a world that moves too fast. So next time she delays a reply, next time she tests your edge, don't lose yourself in proving anything. Just smile. Let her feel your stillness, and remember, the one who stays composed always holds the power. Number 14. Keep a bit of mystery. Let her wonder. There's something powerful about a man who doesn't put his whole life on display. In a world where oversharing is common, where everyone's broadcasting every thought, every moment, every emotion, being a little reserved is like holding on to gold. Because mystery invites curiosity, and curiosity leads to interest. Interest becomes desire. When you first meet a woman, it's natural to want to impress her, to lay it all out, your accomplishments, your goals, your past, your pain. You want her to understand you, to see your worth, to accept your story. But here's the truth. The more someone knows too quickly, the less room they have to imagine. And imagination is where attraction grows. You don't have to be a closed book, but you also don't need to hand her every chapter on the first few pages. Tell your stories, but leave out some details. Give her the outline, but not the entire script. Let her wonder what drives you. Let her guess what's on your mind when you go quiet. Let her feel that there's more to you than what meets the eye. You see, mystery isn't about being secretive or manipulative. It's about being whole. It's about having an inner world so rich, so layered, that not everyone gets access right away. It's about being the kind of man who doesn't need to seek validation by oversharing, because he's already grounded in who he is. When you keep a bit of mystery, she's drawn in, not by the things you say, but by the space you leave unsaid. She'll find herself wondering what you're thinking. She'll want to peel back the layers, because what's hidden often holds more value. And when you finally choose to reveal something, it lands harder. It matters more, because it feels like a privilege, not a performance. The man who can sit in silence, who can walk away without explaining himself, who smiles instead of overspeaking, that man is unforgettable. So if you want to be magnetic, don't just talk, feel, lead, withhold. Let her lean in. Let her chase the parts of you she hasn't figured out yet. Mystery is not the absence of connection, it's the invitation to deeper discovery. And in a world that rushes to explain everything, be the one who lets her soul linger in curiosity. That's where the real chase begins. For number 15, be selective. She's not the prize, you are. Let's pause for a second and ask an honest question. When did we start believing that she's the only one worth winning? That her beauty, her attention, or her presence was some kind of trophy to chase? As men, we've been conditioned to pursue, to prove, to impress. We're taught to see her as the prize. But here's the truth. You're the prize too. Not because of what you own, not because of your looks, but because of what you've built within yourself. Your integrity, your self-control, your ambition, your energy. These things matter just as much, if not more. You see, when you pedestal a woman, when you act like her presence validates your worth, you lose the quiet power that draws her in. Instead, you become a mirror of every other guy who's made her the center of their world without even checking if she fits in theirs. Here's the shift. Stop asking, does she like me? Start asking, do I like her? Do her values align with yours? Does her lifestyle match your goals? Does she bring peace or confusion? This is what being selective means. It's not arrogance, it's self-respect. When a woman sees that you have standards, that you're not just giving your attention to any pretty face, she takes notice. And something powerful happens. She slows down. She gets curious. She starts to wonder, what makes this man so confident? Why isn't he trying so hard like the others? And just like that, the dynamic shifts. Now she's thinking about you. Now she wants to earn your attention. And when she does, it means more, because it was never just handed to her. Being selective isn't about playing hard to get. It's about knowing that your energy is sacred, your time is valuable, and not everyone deserves access to it. So the next time you meet someone, look beyond the surface. Ask yourself, would I be proud to have this woman in my life, not just in my bed, but in my vision? Because when you choose her consciously, not desperately, that's when connection becomes real. That's when attraction becomes mutual. That's when you stop chasing and she starts seeing your worth without you ever having to say a word. Remember, she's not the only prize in the room. You are. Number 16. Don't overcompliment. Let her earn your words. You don't need to shower her with words to prove how much you like her. In fact, the more you do that, the less it means. It's easy to tell a woman she's beautiful. It's harder and more powerful to make her feel beautiful without even saying it. Because here's the truth most men miss. Words that are handed out freely lose their weight. If you're always telling her how amazing she is, how gorgeous she looks, how lucky you are to talk to her, she doesn't feel special. She feels expected. She knows you're hooked. And suddenly the challenge is gone. The mystery dissolves, and the value of your words, it drops to zero. But when you hold back, not coldly, not arrogantly, but intentionally, and then one day, when she's least expecting it, you look at her with that calm, grounded energy and say something like, "You look incredible tonight. Not just pretty. There's something about your energy today." That moment stays with her. Why? Because it wasn't automatic. It wasn't transactional. It wasn't just something you say to every woman. It was real, earned, a compliment with depth behind it. You see, your words should be gifts, not confetti. Something she leans in for, something she craves, something that carries meaning. Don't be the guy who's always validating, always praising, always chasing approval through flattery. Be the man who notices everything, but only speaks when it matters. When you give less, but with more heart, she'll hang on every word. And that silence between your compliments, that's where the tension builds. That's where desire grows. That's where your value is carved. Let your words mean something. Let her feel when she's earned them. Because when she does, she won't forget it. And finally, number 17. One of the hardest but most powerful, walk away when needed, and do it with grace. There's one move that separates the boys from the men. It's not charm, it's not style, it's not even confidence. It's the ability to walk away, not out of anger, not to punish her, but because you know who you are and you refuse to stay where you're not seen, valued, or respected. See, here's the hard truth. No matter how much you like her, no matter how good the chemistry feels, if you find yourself constantly questioning your worth, if you're chasing her attention instead of receiving her energy freely, something's off. And you owe it to yourself to pay attention to that feeling. Walking away doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're finally strong enough to let go of something that's not serving you. And when you do it with grace, without drama, without bitterness, without begging, you leave behind a different kind of silence, one that echoes. She'll remember the man who didn't fight for crumbs, the man who didn't break down, the man who, instead of pleading to stay, calmly stood up and chose himself. That image, it lingers, because so many men stay. They tolerate disrespect, they dim their light, they contort themselves to fit into someone else's version of love. But not you. When you walk away with your dignity intact, you don't just protect your peace, you command respect. And here's the beautiful twist. Sometimes, the very moment you stop chasing is the moment she wakes up. But even if she doesn't, that's not the point. The point is, you chose you. You honored your boundaries. You kept your soul intact. And that, my friend, is what makes you truly powerful. So remember, if love starts to cost your self-worth, if your presence feels like a burden instead of a gift, don't raise your voice. Don't send 1,000 texts. Don't wait to be picked. Stand tall, say less, and walk away with grace. Because real men don't beg to be loved. They walk where love flows freely. In conclusion, these 17 tips aren't just dating tricks. They're not gimmicks. They're principles, standards, ways of showing up in the world as a man who knows his worth. Every time you delay your reply, every time you choose to prioritize your growth, every time you pause before giving in to impulse, you're telling the world and yourself that you're not just another guy trying to impress someone. You're a man who leads, who attracts, who carries quiet power, not by trying to be loud, but by standing rooted in confidence and self-respect. You're not looking for validation. You are the validation. And when you move through life that way, everything changes, especially how women see you. Because women don't fall for desperation, they fall for depth. They're drawn to a man who's building something, who can say no when needed, who can say yes with intention. A man who's not chasing love to fill a void, but welcoming it into a life that's already full. And sometimes the most powerful move you'll make isn't the chase, it's the stillness. It's not texting first, it's not pushing for the next date. It's simply standing in your truth and letting her choose you back. These tips, each of them, lead to one thing, a mindset where you're no longer chasing women, you're becoming the man worth chasing. So to every man watching this, you don't need to become someone else. You just need to become more of yourself. The strongest, clearest, most grounded version of you. Because when you do that, you stop begging to be chosen and start choosing yourself. And that, brother, is when everything begins to change. If this spoke to you, if even one of these tips hit you in the chest like truth, then it's time to live it. Hit that like button, subscribe for more real grounded guidance, and drop a comment below with the tip that hit hardest or the one you're starting with today. Until next time, stay grounded, stay high value, and never forget, you are the prize.